Next up is the Indianapolis Colts as we take a look at their fantasy values for this upcoming fantasy season. Colts have a number of interesting fantasy players that are one of those types of teams that have a lot of potential, and you'll have to see how it plays out during the season. You got to be a little bit leery of most of their players right now. But you can take a flyer on some of them and may really pay off big for you. Quarterback is Andrew Luck, first pick of the draft last year in the NFL. As far as the NFL draft, had a solid rookie campaign, throwing for well over 4,000 yards. He threw over 20 touchdowns, but he did throw 18 interceptions. Now, with Bruce Arians leaving the Colts and going on to become the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, I would expect Luck to see his numbers drop as far as his interception rate and his touchdown rate to go up because of the fact that Arians threw the ball downfield as often as he did. I would look for Luck to be a borderline quarterback one. I really think he's going to improve this year. He may slip into that very top echelon of quarterback twos, but he's not getting nearly as much play as I think he should. And so he should be available in rounds 9 or 10. And if you're looking for a quarterback that late because you just have waited for other positions, I believe you can certainly do worse than Andrew Luck. Running backs are Ahmad Bradshaw and Vic Ballard. Bradshaw had a 1,000-yard season with the Giants, comes over to the Colts. And Ballard, who really was okay, not spectacular last year, should give the Colts an interesting 1-2 punch, but neither one is spectacular, and neither one should be considered a top-flight running back. They're both running back 3. Ballard might be a 4 because he's behind Bradshaw on the depth chart. Bradshaw should be available in rounds 6 or 7, which tells you how little love he actually gets as far as fantasy goes, and Ballard will probably be later than that, going in rounds 10, 11. As far as his fantasy value. Wide receivers, another area that the Colts have some strong value. On one side, they've got Reggie Wayne. Wayne caught well over 100 passes. He caught over 1,300 yards, but he only caught 5 touchdowns last year. I would expect the number of passes he catches to go down a little bit, but the touchdowns to go up. And Reggie Wayne, if he ends up with 8 touchdowns and ends up around that 1,300-yard mark, he certainly is a wide receiver 1 at the back half of that. And as such, he's probably a top 15 wide receiver, maybe 18, but certainly someone that will go in rounds 6 or 7 and give you some great fantasy value there. Other side is Darius Hayward-Bay, who comes over from the Raiders. Bay might have a little bit more success in Indianapolis because the team is better, but he's not a great receiver and probably is not going to be drafted. If he is, it's going to be in the very late rounds. And then T.Y. Hilton, who was the slot man and should be a terrific fantasy value. He caught 7 touchdowns last year in his rookie year and just 50 catches. I would expect his catches to go up by 25, 30. While his touchdowns stay the same or go up a little bit. Hilton is probably going in around 5 or 6 in most drafts, but in some cases may last as late as 8 or 9 as far as the draft round that he goes, as people just don't really know a whole lot about him. Tight end is Kobe Fleener. He's another guy I think you could take a flyer on. I believe he's primed to join that list of Kyle Rudolph and Scott Chandler and Vernon Davis and probably half the rest of the league as that good but not great tight end candidate. He might catch a few more touchdown passes. He only had 2 last year, but I would expect Fleener to be a solid pickup for people late in the draft that are just looking for a flyer on the tight end. Defense and special teams, Colts aren't spectacular in either of those, so I really wouldn't worry too much about the defense for the Colts. And as far as the kicker, it's Adam Vinatieri. His numbers have gone down each of the last 2 years. Colts will kick a lot of field goals, but last year Vinatieri was only 4 of 7 on field goals from 30 to 39 yards, and you just can't miss any of those in the NFL. And as such, kickers come and go a lot of the time, but Vinatieri probably should not be drafted. So, again, looking at it, Andrew Luck, I think, is a solid quarterback, but he definitely seems to last into the rounds 9, 10, 11. Running back Ahmad Bradshaw and Vic Ballard both could be drafted. Bradshaw going probably around 5-6, and Ballard late in the draft. Reggie Wayne is their top pick as far as receivers go, although T.Y. Hilton will get a lot of love as well and be drafted right in that around 5, 6, 7 range. Darius Hayward-Bay, if he's drafted, would go late in the draft. Kobe Fleener is another tight end you could take, and avoid the defense and the kicker.